Jimmy K here, Metal Voice. Look at this. The Metal Voice shirts are now on sale. Just go to the video description to find out on how you can purchase one. Metal! Welcome to the Metal Voice once again. It hasn't been too long. The one, the only, Mr. Hansi Kursch, Demons and Wizards, Part 3. What's going on, Hansi?
All good here. Just doing a little bit of promotion for Demons and Wizards 3, as you said. And I'm happy to talk to you again.
Yep. So it's coming out, Century Media Records, on February 21st. My first question is, how much has changed from a technological standpoint from the time you did the last album to this album?
Well, a lot and nothing. Recording-wise, we more or less had the same privileges when we did Touched by the Crimson King. Yeah. Of course, analog technologies, they more or less disappeared completely. Yes, we still have some great microphones and some outboard equipment, but most of the stuff nowadays is being recorded by hard disk, and that means you're using the computer nowadays. And even for rhythm guitars, it's quite unlikely that a band is going to use analog tapes nowadays. We didn't do so. It's always a consideration, but at the very end, because of the comfort of just having everything digital, we skipped that idea for Blind Guardian and for Demons and Wizards at that point as well. Even though John was really desperately, almost being sentimental, looking back and saying, well, how great the sounding is. And it is, having rhythm guitars recorded by an analog tape. But I mean, the advantages you have, they are too minimal to afford that with each and every recording. So that for sure is a difference with regard to the recordings.
Okay.
Mixing-wise and technology-wise, on all other levels is pretty much the same. The way music is consumed nowadays has changed a lot because it's all digital. It's still an album being produced for vinyl and CD, since we are old school guys. But we have to consider the streaming services and how the music would sound in combination with other metal acts. And that means you work with a different compression, especially for this mastering. You have to compete with, let's say, Testament or Behemoth or whatever. It all needs to have the same kind of level, so it can shine in a playlist which people are listening to. If we went too old school here and would make a too dynamic mastering for that as well, that would sound weak in comparison and in competition with, harder music or with the general approach of mastering for such mediums.
Do you find, I remember 10 years ago, we were going through a transition between selling albums and people stealing music. And there was no infrastructure on the internet. I don't even know if YouTube was at its infancy stage. It was just starting off. So do you think that because the last Demons and Wizards album came out 10 years ago, and the other one before that, even a few years before then, right? 5 years before then, do you find that you missed more of an opportunity than today? Like today, we have an infrastructure. We have the Metal Voice. We have other shows on YouTube. We have streaming services. Do you find that you missed something back then? Or maybe you didn't. Or maybe today is worse. I don't know.
A continuity over all these years would have been very nice. That was never the intention, to be away for so long with Demons and Wizards. So we for sure missed something. We could have built up a bigger following if there was a chance for more Demons and Wizards albums in between, for sure. And with regard to the way music is consumed, it, of course, was easier to make money with any sort of music 10 years ago. There's no question about that. But it is what it is, and there is still a lot of attention when it comes to a band like Demons and Wizards, for example. And as you mentioned, there are different opportunities and tools how people are listening to music nowadays. And with all these tools they are having, it's still a big amount of people which is somehow attracted by what we are doing. So my understanding and my belief is that if an album is really good, and Demons Wizards 3 is a very strong album, it will find the attention it deserves, and that is not connected to the time it has been released, and it's more really about it's more about quality of music. But of course, the habits of many people have changed, and the need for music does not seem to be as big as it used to be. But that's more the younger generation. So with regard to that, we are still in the safe haven with heavy metal music, because these people are loyal, and even the young ones coming in, they still enjoy listening to vinyl here and there, or to a CD, which quality-wise is still better, and it's more individual for sure.
Describe to me the musical direction of this album.
It's more defined. That would be the first thing which I would say to people who are familiar with Demons and Wizards. The first two albums, they have been very strong, and they already showcased the direction for Demons and Wizards, of course. I mean, we established a style apart from what Blind Guardian and Iced Earth were doing over all these years, obviously. And we always liked the freedom to, explore different dimensions with Demons and Wizards. And this is for sure more precise on this one. There is a strong atmospheric element almost in every song. There's a high diversity. We go from almost alternative sounding songs like Invincible, for example, to classic rock songs like Children of Cain, or the intense Diabolic stuff. Demons and Wizards covers everything from almost folkloristic classic rock music of the 70s up to almost intense thrash metal, I have to say. So there is a high variety of different sounding songs on the album. They all have a high quality, which I always consider to be all killers, no fillers. There is a lot of passion on this album, and whatever people liked on the first two albums is there, but it's just added by other ingredients like the mentioned classic rock stuff, which could be sensed on especially the first Demons and Wizards album, but it didn't turn out so clear. And on this one, we have a song like Timeless Spirit, which almost goes into a Pink Floydish direction. We have a song like Children of Cain, which goes into doomy Black Sabbath melancholic directions, and at the next moment into a more Boston optimistic sort of 70s flair. And that all still reveals the characters of John and me quite obvious in each and every song. You will never question who is doing that music. There is that Hansi Kursch multi-vocal layout thing. The way I arranged vocals might be a little different than many other people do it. And of course, because of the ingredients John brought in, this comes across different than it is in Blind Guardian. And I would say the same about...
would you say darker album? I would say a much darker album.
Well, basically, John and I am at the edge, or on the edge about that, because we feel it also delivers a glimpse of hope here and there. And for us, it's not so dark as it appears to people. You're not the first one saying that. Maybe that's also related to the album cover, which is related to Diabolic, which deals with the fall of Lucifer, or the events after the fall of Lucifer, when he's joining forces with Beelzebub and Satan to
Ooh.
establish another war against heaven.
Yes.
And you see on the album cover, you see Lucifer expecting Beelzebub and Satan entering the final gate, or stepping through the final gate. And this, of course, already sets the tone for a more darker attitude. And there is a lot of darkness in the songs, but as said, I also feel that at least at points, there's always that light at the end of the tunnel, at the very least. I sometimes destroy that completely with the lyrics. So the lyrics, for sure, at points are dark, yes.
So tell me in 10 seconds. I'll read you the tracks off the album. Just tell me in 10 seconds the theme. Don't go into great detail. Just what it's about, right? So Midas Disease.
That's Midas Disease. Okay, I was about.
You forgot about that song. What?
Midas Disease is about a TV preacher who manipulates people and always gets along with that. Still succeeds.
Okay, and Diabolic, which I think is the album cover. Is that it? Is that correct?
Yeah, that is about the events after the fall of Lucifer, when hell is established, and Lucifer is going to join forces with Beelzebub and Satan.
Okay, Invincible.
Invincible is inspired by Philip Pullman's his Dark Materials, and it deals with a main protagonist called Lyra, and she's trying to rescue the dead. That's a girl. That's a little girl, who has her share in a quite amazing story.
All right. Wolves in Winter. Okay, this is about the werewolves. Is that werewolves?
Well, if you go into the lyrics, yes, you get that feeling, but it's more about accepting the beast in yourself.
Okay, cool. Final Warning.
Final Warning, another literature inspiration that goes into Stormlight archives, written by Brandon Sanderson's direction, and it introduces one of the protagonists in the song, which is an assassin with almost ultimate power.
Timeless Spirit.
Timeless Spirit is about a spiritual journey you're on, and on this journey you will meet your former carnations. So
Okay.
it is about constant reincarnation.
Man, you're really deep there, Hansi. You're a really deep guy.
I would like to take that. But this song, these lyrics have been written by John. And
okay. And before I continue with the rest of them, did you write the majority, or did you and John write together the lyrics, or how did that come about?
Well, in Demons and Wizards, it's usually I write the majority, and then there is like 2 or 3 songs on each album which have been written by John. On this one, it's Wolves in Winter, Timeless Spirit, and Dark Side of Her Majesty.
Okay, and Dark Side of Her Majesty, what's that about? Just like quickly.
Yeah, that is a sort of fictional comic idea John has for a story which he might create later on. It's about a vampire queen who steals young children, but is pretending it's like the wolf amongst lamb, pretending to be a lamb as well, or sheep.
New Dawn, which is a great song, by the way. I love that song. It's a good song.
Thank you very much.
What's New Dawn?
New Dawn is, again, one of the songs inspired by his Dark Material. That is one of the songs musically which contains some positive elements, where I always, not only because of the title, but also because of the music itself, get that feeling that, things might turn out to the better. This is about a person in the story which goes to the extreme no matter what, and who, is not willing to give up a wrong position, and instead, tries to establish that wrong position to make it real, which is impossible, obviously. And this person is willing to sacrifice the world for it.
And Universal Truth, which is more of an uplifting song, right? It's got a little bit of keyboards there. It makes it more uppy up. Universal Truth.
Yes, that would be the last one. His Dark Material is a trilogy. And since Invincible, New Dawn, and Universal Truth were the first songs John provided me with, and they had that different flavor, that different texture, I felt, I dedicated all these three songs to the trilogy of Philip Pullman. And that basically is an uplifting one about what you can accomplish if you believe in yourself and if you have allies, basically.
Children of Cain, I guess Cain and Abel, the story of Cain and Abel, but Cain, I guess it would be the bad people. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's
of the earth.
Well, it's a dystopian story I came up with, and it is a society living to similar rules than ours, but the law of Cain is essential to become an adult there. So you at a point you have to undergo a ritual where you are supposed to kill your brother. In Children of Cain, that is also the case, but this person who is in the ritual is going to kill each other kid in his age. So
that's cool.
This, on the other hand, is not, while the killing of one of your brothers is an established tool, the killing, of everyone else is not acceptable. And that's what the song is about.
I really enjoyed this album. I thought this is probably the best of the three so far. Are you guys planning on touring Demons and Wizards? I know, you started off with a tour. That's when we spoke last time. But are you planning on continuing that tour to support this record? Or are you going right into Blind Guardian mode?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to, but the reality is we have to go back to Blind Guardian and Iced Earth and keep our focus on our main bands, and then we will have to see whenever there will be a chance to join forces again. That's up in the air in the moment because the schedules are packed already for both Iced Earth and Blind Guardian.
Did you finish the next Blind? You don't stop. We talk every 6 months because you don't stop. I mean, from the last, have you finished the next Blind Guardian album? Is that done yet, or what's going on?
I'm happy to tell you that we will talk in about 6 months again, and then probably in another 6 months again, because there are things to come even for Demons and Wizards, but we're not going on tour with this album, but we are still intending to release another live album, the first live album, actually.
Okay. I think we spoke about this, yeah.
Yeah, we recorded the stuff back in 2019, and it's too great of stuff not to be released. And this is for sure something we do in 2021. But for 2020, the first thing which is going to happen is basically the Blind Guardian production. We stopped the first pre-production yesterday. We will continue in March, and then from April to October, November, we will finish the album with a real production. Everything is set up. It's another amazing ride. It's more progressive than people probably would expect, but it's typical Blind Guardian. So it is almost useless because you need to hear to understand.
Are you? I think we spoke about this, but are you going to be stripping away the orchestration this time around? Because now you went full orchestration. Now, are you going to be pulling back on that?
Yes, when we spoke last time, I probably not even have been aware of it because I was of the opinion that there still is a lot of orchestration in there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But when working on it over the last 2 months, I realized it's far less than I thought. But as mentioned, it goes more into a progressive direction. That is the case. There are like 3-4 real speed thrash metal songs on there, and the rest is more on the complex side of introducing music to people which they have never heard before, but with less orchestration.
All right, there you have it. So I'm very excited. Demons and Wizards coming out February 21st in about a week and a half, I guess, on Century Media Records. My guest, the one, the only Hansi, who's always on every 6 months because he's got something else, something new to promote. And we're looking forward to the new Blind Guardian tour, I would assume, and the record. Is there a tour? Just to leave off with that, are you planning some major North American tour, perhaps?
Count on us at the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022. So
Jeez.
it's all stretched a little bit because of Demons and Wizards. But yeah, at the end of the year, the album will be finished, and we will release it somewhere in the first half of 2021. I'm mixed up with the
It's
year.
just too much, too many things going on. Always a pleasure, my friend. Have yourself a wonderful day, okay?
Jimmy, likewise. Great talking to you.
Okay, bye.
Say farewell to the future.